Hello YouTube and welcome back to my channel. I am Alison. I write as Alison May, 50% of Juliet Bell, and most recently as Ali Sinclair. Here on YouTube I talk about writing, publishing, the publishing industry and all things related. If that sounds like it would be your bag, then please subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you get notifications when there are new videos, and come hang out, comment, tell me what you'd like to hear about. What we are going to talk about today is imposter syndrome, a constant friend to many writers. I say friend, gnawing death, doubt and instigator of despair rather than friend, but friend is shorter and pithier to say, so we'll stick with that. Imposter syndrome. I think most of us get it. If you don't get imposter syndrome as a writer, you're probably deep in denial about how good you are. So yeah, if you think, oh, this isn't a problem for me, maybe it should be. All I'm saying. I think most of us do get imposter syndrome though. That feeling where you just kind of look around you and you think, what am I doing here? Why am I even trying? What is the point? I'm terrible. I can't make sentences. I mean, quite often I literally can't make sentences. That's a genuine problem. All of that stuff kind of crowds into your brain and you just sort of think, what business do I have even trying to do this? That's imposter syndrome, and I think I've been thinking about it a lot this week, I think for 3 reasons. I'm going to enumerate those reasons for you now. Number 1, it is London Book Fair week this week. For those of you who aren't familiar, London Book Fair is a massive trade fair where agents and publishers from across the UK and across the world come together, and it's a big old trade show where lots of kind of foreign rights deals get started, lots of TV and film people are kind of there, lots of the kind of business of publishing gets done. And around London Book Fair there is always a flurry of announcements of new deals, new TV film options, new translation deals, books that have sold at auction, all that stuff. All of those deals that are being announced this week weren't actually made at London Book Fair because that was actually only happening this week. So the deals that were instigated at London Book Fair won't be announced for months yet. These are all things that have been in the offing and they're announcing it at London Book Fair as part of their kind of trade show celebration and PR and promotion and to kind of create that buzz. But you do get a lot of announcements, and if like me you live in the writer corners of social media, you will inevitably be seeing lots of those announcements. The Bookseller magazine very helpfully blasts a whole load of them into your inbox every morning. I mean, they don't do that uninvited. I could totally unsubscribe from that, but I don't, obviously, because yeah, I don't know why not. Probably for reasons that don't reflect well on my mental health. Let's move on. So that's number 1 reason imposter syndrome is in my mind. I'm being bombarded with all of these announcements and big news across the writing world. The second reason is that I've had a little spate this week of being asked what I do for a living. And this is an odd one for a writer because most of us when we start out writing, we aren't doing that for a living. It's not our main job. Writing is now my main job. It's not my only job, but it is my main job. So when people say, oh, what do you do? The answer should be, I'm a writer. I'm trying to train myself to give that answer, but it's a bit of a tricky one. So I've had it in a couple of different contexts this week. I had 2 dental appointments this week. I had a new dentist and then the next day I had an appointment with a new dental hygienist, and both of those did the polite chit-chat thing. What do you do? I'm a writer. Oh, what sort of thing do you write? Oh, I write novels. And when you say I write novels, people go, ooh, that's really interesting, and ask you lots of questions about it. And I had a similar conversation with the instructor at a salsa dance class I go to, which was all very lovely and they were very polite and interested, and it's great and it's lovely when people are interested. But I, number 1, not super keen on talking about myself. I know you wouldn't get that impression from YouTube, but on YouTube I talk about writing and craft and publishing. I don't talk about me. So talking about me and my own books, I do feel quite uncomfortable with. And at some point in that conversation, you will always get a version, however they phrase it and however polite they try to be about it, of, so why haven't I heard of you? To which the answer is because there's an awful lot of authors and you've probably heard about the top 1% of them. And of that top 1% that you've heard of, quite a lot of them are like Brontes and Jane Austen and Charles Dickens and are totally dead, so not coming to get their teeth scaled and polished. Yeah, so there's a bit of that in there where you kind of feel like, however it comes from a place of genuine interest, you're sort of back to this corner feeling like you have to justify yourself and explain yourself. So that's the second reason I've been thinking about imposter syndrome. And the third reason I've been thinking about imposter syndrome, and this is probably the underlying one, is that the book I'm writing isn't going very well at the moment. Now, I've been around this roller coaster enough times to know that it will be fine. I will work it out, I will get there. But at the moment, I hate this book. I severely doubt my own ability to fix it. I've spent quite a lot of time over the last 2 weeks literally just staring at my wall. So I've got a whiteboard, I've got a notice board with like post-it notes, got my plot up on it, and I have spent quite a lot of time literally just sitting staring at them, not making that breakthrough, not making that progress. Now, when I do make that breakthrough and go, oh, that's what I need to sort out, everything I know will fall into place quite quickly because that tends to be how it goes. And all of this sitting staring at the wall will have been useful staring at the wall. But when you're in the middle of the staring at the wall, it feels horrible. And it is, I think, very natural to kind of think, why am I doing this? What's the point? I can't fix this book. It's a pile of at the moment. I can't make it good. I don't know how to restructure it. I can't work out what I need to do. And all of that feeds into that imposter syndrome. It feeds into that self-doubt. Now, normally in these videos, I get to this point, I do my little introduction where I explain the problem or the quandary or the writing issue, and then we go on to some advice about how to deal with it. So, do I have any advice to deal with imposter syndrome? I mean, from the fact that I'm deep in the middle of it right now, I think we can safely assume not really. I think I probably can kind of try and pull my advice out into, again, maybe 3 things. But these are all things that I am not necessarily brilliant at implementing myself. So it's very much a do as I say, not as I do situation. First thing is that you absolutely can fake it till you make it. That question of what do you do? It probably took me 5 years of writing seriously to even put writing in the mix of the things I did. So for a long time I was working as a trainer in the voluntary sector. I worked for various different charities training volunteers and staff. And I would always give that as my first job, even though for quite a lot of that time it was less than 50% of my time, more than 50% was writing. I would still always say, oh, I'm a freelance trainer. So the first step for me was saying, oh, well, I have a couple of different roles. So I'm a part-time trainer and a part-time writer. That was my kind of way in. What I'm trying to do now is to open with, I'm a writer. I'm a writer, that's what I do. And then just accept the questions that come as being from a place of interest. Like occasionally, obviously, someone is just a bit of a idiot, and when they hear that you write romance or sci-fi or whatever it might be, you will get a kind of, oh, so not proper literature type comment. If you're a female writer, there will definitely be an older dude somewhere around who wants to explain to you how to do your job. These things happen, but most of the time people ask questions because if you're outside of this world, it's not something people necessarily know a lot about, and it feels quite aspirational, it feels quite interesting, and most people, the vast majority of people, will have bought and read books, been to the library, picked up audio books, whatever format, and so how those things that they're enjoying get created is fundamentally really interesting. So practice saying I'm a writer. And then practice answering the questions about it with grace and with humour. Even if you're not entirely feeling it, fake it till you make it, and it will get more innate and you will get more confident in those conversations. The other thing that I've been thinking about a lot, and this is something I say to developing authors that I'm working with a lot, is that I always try and focus on process rather than outcomes. And that's true in all sorts of contexts. And it comes down to the fact that really you can't control outcomes. With the best marketing plan in the world, the best sales, the best promotion, the best marketing budget, you cannot guarantee that a book will become a bestseller. All you can control is the process. And as a writer, if you set your goal as, I'm going to get an agent this year, you can't control that. All you can control is the process. So I am going to submit my novel to at least 20 agents this year, brackets, unless I find one with less than 20, close brackets. That's process, and you can control that. And that, I think, is particularly relevant when we get to those phases where the internet is just alive with incredible announcements, 24-way auctions, 6-figure deals, film deals, all of that stuff. It's normal, first of all, to be insanely jealous, and it's normal for that to trigger a certain amount of imposter syndrome. And the thing to do there, again, is focus on process, because what you're seeing there is just outcome. Outcome is outside of your control. And it was outside of the control of those authors who are announcing those things now. All they could control was their process. All you can control is your process. If you put in place a process that gives you the best chance of being in a position to embrace it, if the chips fall in your favour at some point, that's all you can do. That's the best you can do. And if you're doing that, there is no place for imposter syndrome, because you're doing the same process as those people that you're comparing yourself to and finding yourself to be lacking. So that, in a nutshell, is my kind of imposter syndrome advice. Fake it till you make it. Practice modelling the sort of confidence you wish you felt. Focus on your process, not your outcomes. And seriously, just don't compare your career to other writers' careers. It's so individual. There are so many variables. There are so many things that you can't control. Comparison truly is the thief of joy. I can say that in a YouTube video. If I put it in a book, I would then have to edit it because it's a massive cliche. But it's also true. Comparison is the thief. I can't say thief. I'm not very good at th and f sounds, so I naturally want to say thief. Comparison is the thief of joy, which is not right, but you totally know what I mean. Comparison steals joy. So just don't do it to yourself. Focus on your own stuff, your own process. Look at what else is going on in the industry as a source of inspiration, not as a source of putting yourself down. And here endeth the lesson. I will be back in 2 weeks' time with more writing and publishing related witterings. Until then, so long.